Okay, think about this for a second. You finally sit down at your desk to study, to work, or to knock out something truly important. You open your laptop, you settle into your chair, and you focus for, what, maybe 2 minutes? And then, almost instinctively, you're checking your phone. One notification turns into casual scrolling. One short video somehow becomes 10, and before you even realize what's happening, an entire hour is just completely gone.
And then that heavy, totally familiar guilt sets in, right? You stare at the screen and you just ask yourself, why am I so distracted all the time? Well, let's dive into this, because the very first thing we need to establish right now is that your brain is not broken. You aren't fundamentally flawed or lazy. Your brain is simply naturally designed to avoid unnecessary effort.
So let's look at Section 1, the distraction dilemma, and your brain on modern tech.
See, the constant disruptions we face today aren't just random, unfortunate accidents. Modern technology knows exactly how human nature works, and quite frankly, it exploits it. These platforms are incredibly well-engineered traps, built on one very simple premise. Your brain loves easy rewards. It naturally, biologically, seeks out whatever feels fast, whatever feels easy, and whatever feels instantly rewarding. We're wired for survival, and historically, survival just meant conserving energy and taking the absolute easiest path to a reward. Which brings us to the core mechanism driving this whole show, dopamine. Every single time you scroll, switch apps, or get a tiny little ping on your screen, your brain releases dopamine. Now, dopamine itself isn't the bad guy here. It's just the chemical connected to pleasure, reward, and the motivation to actually do things. We need it. But today, the endless swiping floods your brain with dopamine way too easily and way too fast. And that massive unnatural flood completely kills its patience for doing anything difficult. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why 20 minutes of studying or focused work feels utterly exhausting, but 2 hours of scrolling feels completely effortless. Think about it. Thousands of years ago, humans had to work incredibly hard for just a little bit of stimulation. Now, you get an endless stream of pure entertainment instantly, with literally just a single swipe of your thumb. Because of this massive shift, your brain is now constantly comparing everything in your life to that instant entertainment. Hard tasks like studying, working out, or trying to learn a complex new skill, they feel agonizingly slow. They just don't give you that immediate hit. So what happens? You start getting these unprompted urges to check your phone, even when it hasn't buzzed. A quote-unquote quick break on YouTube spirals into an hour of totally random videos. You're constantly switching between apps while working because your brain is desperately craving the instant satisfaction it's now entirely accustomed to. And this leads us to a pretty profound realization. Distractions are training you. Distractions aren't just these passive things that happen to interrupt your day. It's an active process. Your attention span is literally being rewired and trained for speed, for novelty, and for a constant, nonstop stream of low-effort rewards. Which brings us to Section 2, the fear of boredom, and how we are losing the ability to just be still. You see, this constant training has created a deeply relatable modern condition. Think about your own day. The exact moment there's a pocket of silence, like waiting in line at a coffee shop, sitting on a train, or just experiencing a brief gap in your schedule, a subtle panic sets in. You automatically reach into your pocket to search for stimulation, but we've completely forgotten the true value of being still. As this idea perfectly captures, boredom is where focus, creativity, and deep thinking develop. When you constantly feed your brain with artificial stimulation just to avoid a single second of silence, it loses that crucial ability to stay focused for long periods. You're essentially starving your mind of the quiet space it desperately needs to actually think. And it gets worse, because distractions don't just steal your time, they totally drain your mental energy. You've probably asked yourself, why am I so tired after essentially doing nothing all day but staring at a screen? Well, it's because of the exhausting cycle of context switching. Every single time your attention jumps from one app to another, your brain loses focus and has to burn real, physical energy to reset itself. That drains you. It makes focused work feel even harder, which ironically pushes you right back into seeking more distractions. It's a vicious loop.
Let's move to Section 3, how to train focus and actually break this cycle.
So, the crucial point is, how do we step out of this exhausting dopamine cycle and reclaim our minds? Look, the solution isn't just wishing you had more willpower. That never works. It comes down to a few actionable steps. Step 1 is absolutely the most critical. You have to fix your environment. Your environment controls your behavior far better than sheer motivation ever will. If your phone is sitting right next to you on the desk, your brain is going to constantly think about it. It's that simple. Put it out of sight. Put it in another room entirely. Turn off the notifications. You have to make distractions physically harder to access. Step 2, start small. We're talking just 10 minutes.
Your brain has been trained for distraction for years, so you've got to stop expecting perfect focus instantly. Just sit down, remove the phone, and ask yourself to focus for just 10 minutes. Let your brain slowly, patiently rebuild its endurance. And right alongside this, practice step 3. Learn to tolerate boredom again. Go for a walk without music sometimes. Just sit with your thoughts. Let your mind actually calm down. Then, once you can comfortably manage 10 minutes, move to step 4. Use systems like timers. Set a timer for 25 minutes of deep work, followed by a short 5-minute break. Structured, bounded focus feels so much easier and far less intimidating for the brain than the daunting idea of just working endlessly. And finally, step 5, deliberately reduce the easy dopamine in your life so that normal, everyday reality stops feeling so dreadfully boring by comparison. Because at the end of the day, you really must understand this fundamental truth. Focus is a skill. Focus is not some magical gift that you are simply born with, and it's certainly not something you have permanently lost. It is a habit. Right now, you might just be out of shape, heavily trained for distraction. But just like a physical muscle, focus can be rebuilt and it can be trained. I really want you to internalize this completely. Control your attention. Stop calling yourself lazy. Stop telling yourself that you're broken or incapable of deep work, because you are not. Your brain is simply adapting to a highly engineered, hyper-stimulating environment. But the moment you decide to take control of that environment, you slowly start taking control of your habits. And when you control your habits, you fundamentally control your life. So I'm going to leave you with this question to carry with you today. When you finally put the phone away, when you sit in the quiet and you reclaim your mind, what will you build when you finally control your attention?